Making your brake survive when using the car on track is often a hotly contested topic, and you find a lot of stuff online giving a lot of tips of do this and do that, often ending up in, hey, just replace the whole system for big brake kit. And while that's a good option, and they're lighter, the big brake kits, they stop very well. They're multi-piston designs if your car doesn't already come with that. There's some drawbacks: brake bias and cost. So can you make your OEM brake survive? Well, we have here our 2018 WRX, and we've been using it for Time Attack this whole season, and we've modified some things about the brakes that have allowed it to survive and thrive actually on some pretty brake intensive tracks. So here's the tips on how to make that work. First of all, start at the basics. So you need pads. We run the HP Plus pad. It's not the most aggressive track pad. We run it front and back, but it has been good enough with enough cooling. The pad has not crumbled. It's usable on the street, albeit with some dust, but it is a good pad that's really a very nice dual purpose pad. Some noise, but it has survived some pretty intense brake abuse. These are OEM rotors. So you can find blanks or just use OEMs. I'm not sure if the phone is picking this up here on the camera, but there are some cracks that are starting to form, but that's after a season worth of use. The other important thing is, of course, brake fluid. So we run the RBF 660. There's other options out there. The RBF 660 flushed before every track event has prevented any sort of boiling or the pedal getting soft. The brake lines that we run are still stock, so we didn't upgrade to SS brake lines, but we did in this car add a master cylinder brace to give a little bit better brake feel. Now this car does come with a twin piston caliper, so it's got twin pistons up here and a pretty fat, I think 1.2 inch rotor. So how do we keep this thing from overheating, which a lot of people have issued this car? Well, a few things, and they really center around cooling. So we have these Boombah brake deflectors. These are something that I've learned about, working with Porsches, and they do work. On any track car I use, I introduce these as part of a build in one way or another on the control arm. And what they do is they pull in air towards the rotor and the brake caliper when you're driving. Now, this car does come with these deflectors here for aerodynamics, and I've cut away part of this to allow the air to come in through here, hit the deflector, and go towards the brakes. The other thing that you've noticed is that I've made a number of changes to the heat shield. So I've cut this away here where I could, kind of around the ball joints and the control arm, and I've opened it up for air to get in more easily, and all the way around I've pulled it back. So you can use a set of pliers. You can remove the heat shield altogether, but you do want to protect the components in behind. But airflow is critical, so I can fit my finger here now between the heat shield and the rotor. It still is able to protect the components in behind, but as you can see from here, if my light serves me right, you can see how much more opening I have in terms of allowing air. So the important thing to do is pads, of course, fluid, of course, but also airflow. So important to making these systems perform way above what they're spec'd for, from the factory, and way above what you see people run into issues with on track. So, saving yourself a couple bucks versus going versus a big brake kit. These are very effective if set up correctly. And here's one of the ways that we know works, because we've done it and we've done it all season long.